Thanks, Stephanie. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'll begin by providing some updates to the risk outlook for Saskatchewan and how the Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency is prepared for the upcoming summer response season. The SPSA monitors all hazard impacts, including spring runoff and summer weather trends, to help mitigate, plan, and prepare for the risks in the province. With our winter season behind us, we now look to the weather and wildfire risks during the warmer seasons. The SPSA has developed a spring risk outlook that provides an overview of identified environmental risks in Saskatchewan. However, as we move into spring, conditions may vary from these forecasts, and moisture levels may also vary and can vary even between regions. Slightly above normal precipitation was recorded in the north and southwest corners of the province. However, central Saskatchewan received less precipitation than normal, resulting in drier conditions. At this time, we are anticipating areas where abnormally dry to moderate drought conditions are expected. However, the overall picture for Saskatchewan indicates better conditions than we saw in 2024. Climatology reports suggest that the southern half of Saskatchewan will experience an early start to the thunderstorm season, basically starting now, and the northern half of the province will experience a normal start to the season beginning mid to late May. Regarding flooding, the Water Security Agency provides the SPSA with reports that monitor indications, and you will hear an update from the President of the Water Security Agency, Shawn, Jacques, in a moment. However, I will briefly note that should flooding occur, SPSA will work with any community that may be affected. And we recently experienced regional flooding in Aberdeen and Swift Current, where SPSA provided pumps and sandbags. Temperature-wise, we are expecting colder and wetter than average temperatures across the prairies until April or end of April. Near the average conditions are expected to redevelop in May. For the remainder of the spring months, we are expecting warmer than average temperatures across much of Canada. Early forecasting shows there is a potential for the summer months to be hotter than normal. And in regards to preparedness, our agency has prepared for an April start to the wildfire season. Our Type 1 wildfire crews and Type 2 crews have returned or are in the process of being recalled. The SPSA's emergency response team and emergency services officer provide an all-hazard response to incidents and are ready to respond year-round. Our air operations staff will return for the season, and the first air tanker group is already operational. I would like to take this moment to thank all our wildfire firefighters, operational staff for their hard work, dedication, and commitment to protecting the people, property, and resources of Saskatchewan. Their work is amazing, has been in the past, and continues to be amazing. About half of the wildfires in Saskatchewan in any given year are started by humans, with lightning being the cause of the remainder. In the early part of spring, we typically do not experience lightning, so fires that start now are likely to be human-caused. As a result, I urge everyone to take extreme precautions during the spring and early summer months. The SPSA will be putting out preventative messaging on social media and radio to remind everyone of the risk associated to human-caused fires. These wildfires are preventable. Don't let your fire go wild. Simple actions like not driving the vehicle on dry grass, drowning campfires until the embers are cool, and talking to young children about fire safety can help reduce the number of fires in Saskatchewan. And also as a reminder, please be aware of any fire bans. Please check our website for provincial or RM fire bans. And also a reminder that those who burn within 4.5 kilometers of provincial forest should call the 1-800-667-9696 to report the burn. The SPSA encourages property owners to take the time early this season to fire smart their home and yard. Again, there are simple cost-free tasks such as pruning dead trees and branches in your yard, keeping your yard free of debris, especially materials that are easily combustible, such as dead leaves. New this year is a redeveloped active incidents webpage on saskpublicsafety.ca, where you can find the latest wildfire statistics and information about other emergency incidents such as flooding. I encourage you to visit the active incidents page before the wildfire season. Stephanie will also be taking a moment later in this morning to brief you and to demonstrate the page. And also, just if anyone does spot a wildfire or grass fire, please call 911 immediately. If the need arises, the agency is fully prepared to provide support to the ministries, agencies, and communities throughout Saskatchewan. This includes delivering emergency services for shelter-in-place and evacuation support through the SPSA Emergency and Community Support Branch. While the SPSA can provide tools and resources during an emergency, individuals and families should still take action now to prepare and support themselves for up to 72 hours. It is critical for everyone to have an emergency plan and complete and create an emergency kit. Finally, I would like to remind everyone about Sask Alert. This is Saskatchewan's critical information source for emergency information. Provided in real time, it allows individuals and families to take actions to protect themselves and their property. The Sask Alert app is free and can be downloaded on iPhone and Android devices. The Sask Alert website also has the French language option. So in conclusion, I want to remind everyone to visit saskpublicsafety.ca to find information about how to protect yourselves and your family from wildfire and other emergencies. This concludes my remarks. I will now turn it back over to Stephanie. Thank you.
Thank you, Marlo. Now I'll pass it over to Water Security Agency President Shawn Jacques for an update on spring runoff and reservoir levels.
Yes, thanks, Stephanie, and good morning, everybody, and thank you for the opportunity to join here this morning to give a bit of an update on spring runoff and reservoir levels in our province. So snow melt is well underway across and most of the southern part of the province. It's nearing the end with normal to slightly above normal range for runoff. We don't expect any significant flooding risk in the province this year. However, there's always the risk or instances where there's some localized out of channel flows where runoff is a bit higher. Last fall, we saw warmer temperatures ahead of the snowfall, which created some insulation and reduced the depth and extent of the frost in the soil. And so this reduced frost and drier than normal soil from last fall is allowing more of the water to enter the soil during the spring thaw. In the southwest, runoff started earlier than normal, but what we saw was a slow melt with moderate temperatures. And precipitation through March was lower than normal. And so this resulted in runoff peaks lower than what we were forecasting. Southeast and east central Saskatchewan generally saw a quicker warm-up, but despite above normal snowpack, no significant runoff was observed, likely due to the combination of high soil infiltration as observed elsewhere in the province. Runoff in the Wascana Basin is higher than normal due to normal fall conditions and above normal snowpack combined with a quick thaw. Most of the Churchill River Basin and further north is still expected to see a below normal runoff this spring due to dry fall conditions, and there was really not a lot of snowpack in the north this past winter. Most of the remaining snowpack in Saskatchewan is in the northern parts of the province. And although most of this area has a near to slightly above normal snowpack conditions over the past couple of years means we still expect to see below normal runoff. Just a little bit about our reservoirs. Most of the reservoirs in southern Saskatchewan are at or slightly above normal levels for this time of year. Some of our reservoirs like Reed Junction, Cypress East End, and Avonlea are at their normal their full supply levels. And some of the reservoirs like Highfield, Downey, Harris, and Grant Divine aren't expected to fill this year, but are expected to have enough water for full irrigation. And so with the drier fall and lower snowpack throughout the winter, we changed the operation of Lake Diefenbaker, kept the water levels higher than we normally would. And so, the reservoir is sitting in good shape. Currently, we're sitting at about 80 centimeters higher than normal for this time of year. And so, I just like to point out, even with the drier conditions in the fall, there's no anticipated concerns with water supply for any communities at this time. So thank you for the opportunity to give an update.
Great. Thank you, Shawn. So now I will share my screen here to show you our active incidents page. Okay. Can everyone see? Give thumbs up. Okay, so our active incidents page is found on our website, saskpublicsafety.ca, found under emergencies and response active incidents. So you can see here, this looks different than last year. We have a new chart. It is updated every half an hour. So this is the most current, accurate information. We have listing of wildfires, including grass fires and forest fires. You can see different numbers here. So we have the active amount, year to date, previous year to date, and 5-year average to date. So underneath wildfire, you can see we have evacuation incidents that the SPSA is responding to. And we have other emergency support, including search and rescue and other emergency support. So you can see there's one, and that is the POC that has been activated, the Provincial Emergency Operations Center in Saskatoon, to handle the drug overdose crisis. And lastly, you can see flooding. So flooding incidents that the SPSA is responding to. So underneath here, we also have our pie chart, which is a new feature this year. So you can see of the 4 active wildfires, 4 are contained. And if you keep scrolling, we have terminology here to help you. So it has definitions for contained, ongoing assessment, protecting property, and not contained. And then underneath here is our handy interactive map. So you can also click on there to find more details of where these active incidents are happening in the province. If there are additional questions afterwards, please send them to the SPSA Communications Unit inbox at media.spsa@gov.sk.ca. This is the SPSA's main contact for all media. If there are any questions for the SPSA after today, please email this account.